What is up, Scentsy fans? It's Patricia and welcome to a haul video. I have some bars and some closeout party items and also SNIFFS of the Mother's Day and the Puddles and Petals collection. So let's jump in. The first thing I want to just talk to you about is that this order was placed April 26th. It arrived May 12th. It stayed at Scentsy for a long time and they have a 10-day business day allowance before they have to ship. I feel like that should be narrowed to 5 because when it's at Scentsy for a long time, that's the part that's a little frustrating, but that's just my opinion. Once the UPS or Pure Later picks it up, I understand. I'm in Canada. I understand it's going to take a while, but I just wish it would arrive a little bit faster out of Scentsy. So one thing I did order, and maybe this is what slowed it up, but I did order some labels for consultant supplies. All right, a closeout, I usually get some laundry items, and so I picked up 2 Fiji Flower Laundry Liquid. I probably should have picked up 1 whiffs and 1 liquid, but I've kind of got a mismatch going on right now, or I just opened a whiffs yesterday. All right, I decided to pick up some pods, and I wanted to try 100 Acre Wood pods. These are a very light fragrance and wax, but I don't know if it's light in pods. Oh, it smells really nice. It smells like a pretty gentle, sweet vanilla with a little bit of almost like a lavender twist, but I think there's cotton blossoms. Yeah, very, very nice. I hope I can smell that one when it's going. And this one I know is a good performer and is one my husband loves, and it's 3 pods worth of lemon lime fizz. So what I like to do sometimes with my air diffuser systems is put them on days that I go to work, but usually my family is filtering in throughout the day before I get home, so there's scent going for them when they arrive, and it's not wax going. So that's the way I like to do things, but everybody has their own preferences. Technically you can leave your warmers on, but I usually turn mine off when I'm not in the house. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about are the bars that I picked up, and I picked up 2 6-packs. So the first thing I grabbed was Cake Me to Paradise. I do have my, I forget what this is called, showcase brochure, and the writing is very, very small. So I'll probably have to search for these things here. Bakery, Cake Me to Paradise says sweet cake, juicy orange, and island rum. And I know I really like this one. It's nice. You get mostly the fruit and not very much bakery, but it's a nice spring and summer bakery option, so that is really good performer. All right, I have Cocoa Lime. And this one is in the citrus category. It's coconut milk, creamy vanilla, and fresh lime. Yes, very, very strong. Mostly lime with a little tiny bit of the coconut and the vanilla. So this is one that I prefer to use the same season I get it because the color starts to change here. So not that that affects performance, but if I was going to sell something to a local customer, I would not want to sell them something that looked, not pristine. All right, the next one is a floral, and I really enjoy this one. It usually would go in my club if it retires. It's Evening Sky. So the notes on this are soft bergamot, Madagascar vanilla, and midnight lily. And this is really beautiful. Yes. It's actually warms nicer than it smells on cold. So it's a little bit floral heavy, smelling it here, like floral perfume heavy, but in the warmer it's really, really nice. So I'm going to give that a try just to make sure that I still like it as much as I did last year. Sometimes your scent preferences change. So we have Johnny Appleseed, and this is Macintosh apples, peels, and pears, and it's a nice non-spiced apple scent, nice and strong. So I just started a bar of that, so I figured I better pick up a backup. I have Key Lime and Grapefruit. This was a former summer collection, and it's made its way into the catalog. So this one is crystallized sugar, key lime, and pink grapefruit. And I do like grapefruit scents. And I do like lime, and this is really nice. It's tangy and citrusy and fresh and vibrant. Yes, that'll be nice. From the new releases, I really enjoyed this one, is Ocean Shimmer. I feel like I got better performance than a lot of other people. So they say Capri, Lemon, Blue Musk, and Sea Spray. And it's not one of the typical Scentsy aquatics. It's a very pretty aquatic. I find that Ocean is a very pretty aquatic, but I can't smell it very well. And this is a nice scent, but this is on the lighter side. But I can smell it. Some people say it's very, very, very light for them, but I find it's strong enough for me. So Ocean Shimmer, very nice. And not that punchy, pungent aquatic note that Scentsy often uses. So it's a nice switch up. The next one is Strawberry Bliss. And I believe this was in the Easter collection, perhaps last year. This would be in the fruity. So let me just find it here. Fresh, fruity, Strawberry Bliss. It says strawberry puree, jasmine, and fizzy champagne. I don't remember getting very much jasmine. Yeah, just a nice basic run-of-the-mill strawberry for me, which some of them I don't really like. So in the warmer I do like this one, so it's about a medium saturation or maybe even less so. I have Lemon Lime Fizz, which I just mentioned is one that my husband really likes. So this is in the citrus category. This was available, I believe, as part of the Easter collection last year. It's vanilla, sugar, fizzing lemon, and lime. I could be wrong on what collection, but yeah, it's very strong, great out of the gate, nice and strong. Some of those lemon scents kind of lose their oomph as they warm, but it's so good when it's going, so that is a really good one. The next one I picked up too because I really like to mix this with kukui and coconut, which is no longer available, and it is Sun Castles. So I picked up two because I'm thinking I might not pick up a lot of other wax bars this season if I can avoid it. I will pick up LTOs and things like that, but I don't want to stock up on a bunch of scents because I'm trying to take down my wax collection just to get it to a more reasonable level, because obviously I love Scentsy, but I just don't want to, you know, overdo it the way I have. All right, Sunny Coconut, Tropical Pistachio, Sweet Almond. This one's really light, but it pairs so nicely. Oh, so good. It pairs really nicely with kukui and coconut, so if I have two clamshells, this will last me a long time. Sorry, there's a bit of a glare because I had to bring the blind down. It's the time of the day where the sun is bright. All right, the next one I have on my pile is Water Lily and Bergamot. This one has notes of bergamot, white musk, and water lily, and it's in the fresh category. And this is also a light to medium scent. I have it in body products right now. I'm not sure. Part of me wonders if it's not as moisturizing as the other ones, and I'm having like almost like an allergic or eczema reaction to the gloves at work. So my skin is dry. I'm reluctant to put anything on it because sometimes it flares up. But anyway, if you have any suggestion, you can put it down in the comments for me. And I have tried hydrocortisone cream. I've tried another prescription. I am going to go see the doctor soon, but the hydrocortisone cream does help. But yeah, I just think I think there's powder inside the gloves, and I think that's all of a sudden my skin broke out due to that. And anyway, nowhere else on my body, but yeah, this is nice. I do like that. Sorry, I got a little bit off topic. The last one is also a new release. It is Wild for Wildflowers. This one is in the floral section. No, it's in the citrus. But yes, it's in the citrus. It has a floral name, but it definitely leans citrus. It says bright yuzu, juicy tangerine, sweet lychee or lychee, depending on how you say it, and wildflowers. And I remember really enjoying this, but the scent wasn't quite strong enough for me. So I wanted to grab one and put it aside and give it a try, probably sometime in August. So really nice, but I want to see if it gets a little stronger, and I'm looking forward to warming that one. So that is Wild for Wildflowers. All right, so the last two things are the new wax collection. So I kind of let things slide a little bit and waited to order things in a group, and then it took so long to get here. So I apologize if you've already seen too many first sniffs. This is actually not my first sniffs of the Mother's Day collection. I did smell this at World Tour, but I took quick sniffs and that was it. So this is actually leaving at the end of the month, believe it or not. So this comes in a beautiful package of 3 wax bars, and you cannot buy these individually. And let's see, how do you get this open? I think you probably bring all the pieces up, do you? And yeah, you just bring them up and it comes apart. So really nice. I mean, this is the type of collection you probably would want in nice packaging. But some of the other ones, when they put them in the little bags, I don't need them in the little bags. I'm okay, you know, just making do if it saves the environment a little bit. All right, so we have 3 wax bars. And like I said, I have smelled these, but I don't recall a lot. So the first one is Blue Water and Sea Salt, and that's a most beautiful teal aqua color. So this one says white neroli brings citrus notes to a tranquil blend of sea salt and cucumber water. Yes, the neroli for me personally brings it a little bit towards a laundry feel. There is a sweetness here, which I think is coming from the cucumber water because it reminds me of the cucumber note that you get in You're the One. Not so much the cucumber note that you get from aloe water and cucumber, more the You're the One. It's very bright, and I think that's the citrus. Sea salt. Do I get much of that? Not really. It's very fresh. It reminds me of, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but some people might take it that way. It reminds me of some of those Airwick things that you pull up, and they're kind of the air fresheners, and they come in the dome, and you unscrew them and you pull them up, and they're like the tacky, sticky stuff. It's almost like there's one of those that smells like this. So this is really nice. It's refreshing. It's great for a bathroom. It's great for almost like a spa, bright, clean feel. Maybe if someone had a hair salon, this would be a nice scent to put in the background. Probably not one that I need multiples of, but it's really nice. I like it a lot considering it has sea salt, which sometimes I don't like. So that is that one. And I would say strength is about a medium. All right, the next one is Strawberries and Sunshine. And this one came in first place on Tester Tuesday when we voted a little over a week ago. So I will be reviewing this soon. It's white woods add depth to flourishing notes of bright yuzu and wild strawberry. Now I remember smelling this and thinking to myself, this strawberry is somewhat similar to the strawberry from, oh my gosh, now I can't remember. It's the one with the cantaloupe and the strawberry. Oh gosh, it'll come to me. The one from the same collection that had a Pacific Sandalwood, whatever that one was called. I'm just gonna lean back because I know I've got a tester of it in here. I might as well grab it and smell. Like Mr. Dressup with the tickle trunk. Who knows what's gonna be back there? All right, it is called Strawberry and Rock Melon. That's it. So I have this tiny little tester in that scent, and I can barely smell it. It's actually gonna fall out because it's getting dry. Yeah, this is almost gone scentless. But the strawberry presentation that typically is in here, which I can't really smell very well, I might have to dispose of this, unfortunately, is somewhat similar to the strawberry that's in this one on Cold Sniff, as far as I can tell. Also, there was a scent last year in the summer collection that did not come back, and I think it was, I can't remember the name, but it was the only scent that did not come back in the catalog. And the strawberry is a little bit like that, but it does talk about white woods, and that kind of, from my perception, that gives a little bit of a velvety, creamy, kind of woodsy backdrop. Very little woods, more like a creamy smoothness. And then we get yuzu. So I think the yuzu maybe is what's making this bright and sweet, as well as the strawberry. So this is about a medium, but I am going to review this in a more Patricia-like fashion, so stay tuned. And also from that collection we have Vanilla Rose, and I usually do not like rose scents. Now I remember smelling this thinking, oh, this is pleasant for a rose. So it says fresh clementine brightens a bouquet of soft vanilla bean and English rose. Yeah, and the rose is well done here. It's not at a pungent, aggressive rose. I'm just going to smell the bottom of the wax bar. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of the citrus and a lot of the vanilla, so not a lot of rose. So I think if you're someone that's like me and you don't really like rose and you're nervous of the collection because of that, I would definitely say, with confidence, give this one a try, because the rose is kind of like a hidden, gentle, pleasant rose, kind of like some of those other rose ones that I like that don't have a lot of rose, like Strawberry Rose. That's the only one that comes to mind. Yeah, so that is nice. So that is the Mother's Day collection. Like I said, it's in the last chance section right now because it's going away at the end of the month. All right, so next we have the Puddles and Petals wax collection, which is a 4-pack of wax bars, all featured with a rainy floral kind of feel. And it says here, your rainy days just got brighter. And it has 4 wax bars. Now I have not smelled these, so I'm interested to see how they smell. And I'm probably going to mispronounce this one, but that's okay. So we'll try to do it in the order that they come in. So sometimes when I try to alphabetize things, I actually screw up the order. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. So I did print out the notes. So the first one is Coastal Rain Cove, and this is a white wax. So it's got the blue with the white. Isn't that nice? And I have not watched a single video, so I do not know what anybody thinks. However, I have heard through the grapevines, because sometimes I can see in the comments, people make comments. I heard that this collection is on the lighter side. And from voting, we had 2 that seemed more popular than the other 2. So that could be ones that people seem to like. So this one I think came in either second or third. And it is Coastal Rain Cove. It says white sage, crisp lemon, and sea moss dance during a waterfront cloudburst. white sage. Sage, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about sage. I love lemon. Sea moss can, you know, go either way. Okay, it is on the lighter side for me. Okay, so I definitely can get a little bit of lemon and some sage, but the sage is kind of like a pretty sage. Almost whenever I see white anything, sometimes I think of a more gentle, subdued version of that traditional note. It does read a tiny bit, almost like a soft, gentle, masculine undertone, like a man that smells really nice just kind of walked by and you got a whiff of him, because I think the sea moss and the lemon might be kind of doing that as well. So this is nice. Coastal Rain Cove. All right, the next one is Quaint Country Rain, and that is also a white wax. Are they all white waxes? Yes, they are. Isn't that interesting? I thought they would be like blue. Anyway, the artistry on this has a little bit of greenish blue in it instead of blue. So it says Quaint Country Rain. Gentle raindrops revive orchard fruits and fresh violet on a slow afternoon. All right, so raindrops should be nice. Orchard fruits, probably okay. I'm not 100% on board sometimes with violet, so let me just see. Okay. I definitely smell the orchard fruits because it comes across almost like Johnny Appleseed's distant cousin, that orchard. Like a dewy Johnny, and then there is a little bit of almost like an earthy floral kind of tone, almost like you're actually smelling the orchard. And that's probably why it's called Quaint Country Rain, because yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Sometimes when I say that, what I think is, a lot of times I say, if I was smelling candles and I smelled this candle, would I buy it? And the answer is probably no. But that's probably going to be for this collection. But in terms of, is it just going to be to warm in my wax warmers as home fragrance, you know, obviously it's not as big of a commitment. So I probably wouldn't like the scent enough to stockpile it, but we're going to see once I warm it if I like it. So Rugged Mountain Rain, and that kind of looks almost like a denim look to the packaging. It says cool mountain mist passes over wild moss clinging to rough granite. Well, that's very interesting. So cool mountain mist, wild moss, and granite. This one is really hard to smell. I feel like this is the lightest of the three that I've smelled so far. It's almost like a sweet, neutral smell. I'm gonna have to smell this here. Let me just like rub it and see if I can get more out of it. Yeah, it almost says like rough granite. It's almost like the rain hit and then it's evaporating and you're just smelling a little bit of dewy, slightly damp granite. I don't really get a lot of wild moss, I don't think. It's really hard to smell. This one seems the lightest of the three that I've smelled. So that is rough, Rugged Mountain Rain with the rough granite. And last is the one that I thought last time I looked up this note, I thought I looked it up and I thought I knew how to pronounce it. And then obviously I didn't because everyone corrected me. So I think it's Saguaro Desert Rain. But like I said, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. Warm amber sun reappears over rain-soaked cactus greens and yucca flower. I think it's yucca flower. I should have looked up to see how to pronounce that as well. Amber, rain-soaked cactus greens, and yucca flower. Whoa. This is very strong for me. I would say, well, medium, but it's the type of scent that I don't typically care for. A little bit too sharp, a little bit too much cologne tendency, almost like a body wash meta cologne. There's some freshness from the cactus greens, but you can smell the amber, and I think that's what's doing that. So let me just get rid of something there. Sorry. Yes. I'm not sure if this collection is going to be for me personally. I'm okay with fresh scents, but I don't gravitate towards them. So I will definitely give them all a try, and some of them lean to me a little bit masculine, and I'm not really sure why that is, but maybe it's just a combination of the notes. But you can let me know. I'm sure you guys have probably picked it up because I feel like I'm off to a late start with this one. If you picked up the Mother's Day collection, please let me know what your favorite is from that. And if you picked up the Puddles and Petals collection, let me know your overall thoughts and if you had a favorite. So thanks for spending the last few minutes with me. I hope you have a great day in your neck of the woods. If you're new to my channel, you can hit the subscribe and there's a little bell that you can select your notification preferences. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.